Hello learner, welcome to our course of Tribal Entrepreneurship and Economics. Today we are dealing with the lecture in the module 5, which is working on occasional market, weekly market and vocal for local. In the previous lecture, we have identified what the market is, how it is different from physical and virtual market, and how it is good for tribal belts that along with the physical market, the virtual market should also be explored. Then we studied about the structural features of tribal economy, where we identified some 8 points, out of which one point was of periodical market, and then we have identified that these periodical markets can be divided into weekly market and occasional market. Thereafter, we have gone in detail about the occasional market and weekly market along with one or two examples available with us. Now, let's see the second part of it, that is vocal for local, and how we can use this campaign for the tribal economics. As we are aware of that the government of India has promoted the vocal for local scheme through the Niti Aayog. Niti stands for National Institution for Transforming India, and it has one program of Aspirational Block Program, popularly known as ABP, where it is looking forward that the local entrepreneurs be promoted over the multinational firms, and by this way the Indian economy can boost up by producing locally, using it locally and consuming it locally. Not only this, the initiative is also taken into the online mode with the GEM portals Akansha feature, which is providing an online access to avail the tribal services, the local services, the local goods from the online portal. Now, let us see the advantages and disadvantages of this campaign. Before we start with the advantages of vocal for local campaign, the first and the foremost point is economic empowerment. If we go in detail, then we can identify that the vocal for local campaign is actually promoting the Make in India aspect of the government of India, by which the local manufacturers will be promoted. Naturally, it will boost up the local economy by creating the jobs, increasing the demands for local goods and services, and circulation of money within the national economy. Naturally, if we are considering that many of the multinationals are actually providing their goods and services here and availing the cash benefit over here, and then taking this money back as a profit to their headquarters, which is situated somewhere outside India, it is not definitely going to help the Indian economy. While on the other hand, if we promote the local entrepreneurs, if we promote the local business, it will definitely add up into the Indian economy. When we are talking about the advantages of vocal for local campaign, we should also be talking it on the line of tribal entrepreneurship, that with this particular vocal for local campaign, the tribal entrepreneurs can also be promoted and they can also take place in the economic empowerment of the country. Next comes the preservation of indigenous skills and crafts. It does mean that with the use of vocal for local campaign, when the government initiative is of promoting the locally prepared products and services, and that also with its own indigenous skills, it is talking about of the micro and small scale enterprises and also of the tribal enterprises, where the goods are produced with the help of more of traditional knowledge and less of mechanization. In that way, we can say that if the promotion is of local products, it is somehow also skilling up the indigenous crafts and other artifacts. The third point is reduced carbon footprints. Now, some people may argue about it that how a vocal for local campaign could be reducing the carbon footprints. The thing is simple. If we are importing some products from outside of the world, naturally the ship will be used, the railway corridor will be used, the transportation will be used, and naturally more carbon dioxide emission will take place. While when we are procuring these goods from the local market and consuming it in the nearby area, naturally the carbon footprints will be lesser, the emission will be lesser, and the businesses will be indirectly helping in the cleaner environment. The next point is quality assurance and authenticity. Here we want to say that once the local products are made, where the customers are reliable in nature, they are loyal to their products because they know that this local manufacturer has high quality of product demand and high quality of product gradation, while when the products are being manufactured through the mass production system, the quality may be compromised. So, when in this campaign we are talking about to take up the local entrepreneurs, the tribal entrepreneurs, we are also considering that the products will be of good quality and they will be quite authentic as well. Next is the customization and personalization. Think of the idea where we go to purchase some clothing from the ready-made shop, then we have to make alteration of these particular clothes, whether we purchase the shirt or pant, according to our height and our weight. So, we can simply say that when the mass production is being done, some point of alteration comes up. When we do the same thing, we stitch the clothes through the local tailor shops, then we identify that it is being done as per our dimensions. And so, in the same sense, when the local manufacturer would be producing some goods or services, it would be as per the taste and preference of the local customers, and hence there will be a touch of personalization and customization. This is the advantage of purchasing from the local entrepreneurs and also from the tribal entrepreneurs. We also know at this present time that there are number of different types of flora from where different types of honeys can be produced. You might be knowing that now the honey, if we purchase the honey from the mass production site, from the mass production factories, we will have the honey of the same taste. But in reality, if we purchase a raw honey from the tribal entrepreneur, you will identify the taste will always be different, because sometimes the honey might have been produced using the mustard crop, the honey might be produced using the rose crop, the honey might be used using some other forest flora, and hence they have different taste and flavor, and which is actually showing that the authenticity of their products. After talking about the advantages, there are certain disadvantages of this campaign. Let us deal with them. The number one is limited product range and innovation. Yes, since the local manufacturer is looking for the customization and personification, hence he or she may have less range of product and often have less variety to showcase. Many of the times they also lack in innovation, because most of the time they understand that local customers have single kind of demand and they may not have the idea of the change in the fashions and techniques. So the limited product range and limited point of innovation actually hampers if the vocal for local campaign goes on. Second thing is the higher prices. Naturally, the local manufacturer have higher prices for the similar kind of products which are being produced by the other factories. Reason is the same, that since they have the small scale production, they have the higher cost and has lack of economies of scale. It means that since they have the same expenses of the fixed cost nature and they produce a smaller quantity or little quantity, they have to distribute this cost in that little quantity, making the cost higher of the product. And that is why this is also one of the main reason that people sometimes do not purchase the products from the tribal entrepreneur considering costly in nature. It is true that maybe honey from the factory side could be available at 100 rupee per 250 grams, while the honey received from the tribal entrepreneur may cost up to 250 rupees per 250 gram. But naturally, the taste and flavor will better in the local manufacturer and the tribal entrepreneur end. The third point is infrastructure and technology constraints. We know that the local entrepreneurs actually have very less capital and they cannot change their machinery if they are using any time and again. And the modern businesses actually use new innovative technologies by which they improve their production also on a scale and also on quality. So from that point of view, the tribal entrepreneurs may have no access to these modern tools and also of the capital which is required to scale up the business. So infrastructure and the technology constraints is always there with the tribal entrepreneur as a local manufacturer. The next point is distribution challenges. It says that the tribal entrepreneurs as a local businessman have less idea of doing the marketing, packaging and circulating the products across the borders of their own state. Rest apart the idea of the whole country. While the big production houses actually sell their products at a large scale throughout the country. So this makes them having a challenge for the distribution. Not only this, earlier there was an idea of selling the product to the nearby locations only. With the new online portals, there is some relief for the tribal entrepreneurs that their products can now at least be seen through the websites and can be purchased by the enthusiastic customers across the different states of the country. The fifth point is quality and consistency concern. When we talk about the local entrepreneurs, their products are of qualitative in nature, they have a good quality, but at the same time, the same taste, the same flavor, the same idea of production may not work all the time. While in the machines, we know that when the different ingredients are mixed at a right quantity, it will produce almost similar taste. But with local manufacturer, we cannot guarantee that the taste of the product or the flavor of the product will be the similar as was the previous experience. So they lack in some kind of maintaining the quality standard, and on that basis their quality and consistency have certain concerns. So by and large, we have dealt with the advantages and disadvantages of vocal for local campaign. We can see that though the advantages and disadvantages for vocal for local campaigns are many, but when we see them from the point of view of tribal entrepreneurs, we can say that this campaign is actually promoting the tribal entrepreneurship at large by bringing their skills, their cultural heritage, their handicrafts and their means of other productions and services outside from their boundaries and bringing it for the other customers of the society. At the same time, it is also important to learn that naturally any campaign may have certain disadvantages, but the government and the tribal entrepreneurs have to identify these constraints and have to come out with certain measures with the help of which this Vocal for Local campaign can be made more profitable. We can also need to understand that when we talk about the economy of the India was earlier was based on the agriculture sector, and then it jumps to the service sector and has never touched the manufacturing sector with full heart. With the government initiatives of Make in India campaign and also this Vocal for Local campaign, the main emphasis is on the manufacturing sector of the economy of the country, with which the government is looking forward that not only the agriculture, agripreneurship, agri-tourism be increased, not also the service sector will keep on going, providing its major impetus to the growth of the GDP, but also the manufacturing sector should also grow in such a way that all the three sectors could contribute for the better economic development. We also need to understand that in this Vocal for Local campaign, the emphasis is also on the tribal entrepreneurs, that they come out with the innovative ideas, they come out with certain infrastructure lacking, and they come out with certain new production and services with which the local entrepreneurs like these tribal entrepreneurs can gain momentum in the heart of the customers, and the customers could become loyal to their production and services. For example, in my case, I usually purchase the honey from the local beekeeper only. I also try to find out that the honey should be from certain tribal area itself. If you can search for different types of honeys, you can identify that the Himalayan flora is different, the central India flora is different, the western Ghat flora is different, the south area honey taste is different, and these can be accessed only through these tribal entrepreneurship. Otherwise, the taste of the honey will remain the same if we are consuming the factory based honeys from different types of companies. So, this is the simple example of honey. When we talk about the spices, the natural spices from the far forest area of the Kerala can only give you the good fragrance and the taste in the meals. In that way, we can say that there is a high scope for growing the local entrepreneurs, the tribal entrepreneurs, and this particular campaign of Vocal for Local can help the government in boosting the morals, providing the required finance and other features to these tribal entrepreneurs. And probably with the government's this initiative, the tribal entrepreneurs are actually getting certain benefits of selling their product to the larger market. When I was talking about the online portal, the TriFed, which is governed under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, has also opened one website through which we can identify that certain types of arts, crafts, clothes and certain types of other artifacts are available all across the country from different tribal belts. It is ranging from northeastern belts of different tribes to the Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and other tribal areas of the country. And these items can be procured from that website, or more or less that particular website can give the access to those other websites or the contact numbers from where the tribal entrepreneurship can be promoted. So, we can say that the government is not only bringing the Vocal for Local campaign in the paper, it is also actually practicing it through a different ministry. On this basis, we can conclude that the Vocal for Local is providing numerous opportunities for the local manufacturers, local businessmen, tribal entrepreneurs. Naturally, there are still certain challenges to be addressed to fully realize its potential and to bring more economic betterment of the country. Thank you for listening the lecture patiently.